The council chamber was massive, with walls that curved up into a dome of stars. Daehyun worked quietly in the corner, his tools spread out on the floor. The environmental control panel had been acting up for 3 days, and nobody else wanted to climb behind the seats to fix it. That was fine with him. He liked the quiet work. Above him, aliens from a dozen different species sat in their designated seats. The Galactic Council was in session, and today the Valanthar Empire had something to announce. Daehyun had seen Valanthar before, but never this many in one place. They looked like they were made of living crystal, their bodies catching the light and throwing rainbows across the walls. Beautiful, he thought, even if they always looked at humans like something stuck to their shoe. Princess Nyla stood at the center podium. She was tall, taller than any human, and her crystalline form glowed with a pale blue light. Her voice rang out clear and cold. "The Valanthar Empire has made a decision," she said. "Effective immediately, humans are banned from entering Valanthar space. They are banned from our medical facilities, our trade stations, and our worlds." Daehyun's hands stopped moving. He looked up from his work. Nyla continued, her chin raised high. "Humanity is too primitive. Their biology is barbaric. They carry diseases we cannot risk. They think in ways that contaminate proper civilization. We have tried to be patient with them, but patience has limits. The elder species of this galaxy deserve protection from their chaos." The chamber erupted in noise. Some species nodded in agreement. Others shouted protests. The human ambassador, a woman named Hana, stood up with her face red. "This is outrageous. Humanity has done nothing to warrant—" "You have done everything," Nyla cut her off. "Your species has been in space for 20 years. 20 years. And already you have caused 3 diplomatic incidents, 2 trade disputes, and 1 near war. You are children playing with weapons you do not understand. The Valanthar Empire will not risk its people for your learning process." Daehyun felt his jaw tighten. He wanted to say something, anything. But what could a repair technician say to a princess? He was nobody important. Just another human trying to make a living on the edges of the galaxy. Ambassador Hana's voice shook with anger. "We will take this to a full council vote. You cannot simply—" "Why, we can and we have," Nyla said. Her eyes swept across the chamber, and for just a moment they landed on Daehyun. He saw something in that glance. Not just disgust. Something colder. Fear, maybe? But that made no sense. What could the Valanthar possibly fear from humans? The session ended badly. Shouting, threats of trade sanctions, promises to bring the matter back up. Daehyun finished his repair work in silence and packed up his tools. His communicator buzzed. It was Jiwon, his best friend. "Did you hear what that crystal princess said about us?" Jiwon's voice was angry. "I was there," Daehyun said quietly. "I heard it all. Barbaric biology. Contaminating presence. Who does she think she is?" "A princess," Daehyun said. "And she thinks she's better than us. Come on, let's get dinner. I'm tired." That evening, there was supposed to be a diplomatic reception. Daehyun had no interest in going, but Jiwon convinced him. Free food was free food, and the station's noodle shop was closed for repairs. The reception hall was crowded with aliens in fancy clothes. Daehyun and Jiwon stood near the food tables, trying to stay invisible. Princess Nyla was there, of course, surrounded by Valanthar nobles. Her brother stood beside her, a younger Valanthar who looked barely old enough to be an adult. Prince Tarek, if Daehyun remembered correctly. The boy was talking excitedly with some bug-like aliens, gesturing with his crystalline hands. He seemed happy, friendly even, not like his sister at all. Then Tarek stumbled. It was small at first, just a little loss of balance, but then his hand went to his chest and his glow flickered. Nyla turned immediately, her eyes wide. "Tarek?" The boy fell to his knees. The conversations around them stopped. Everyone stared as Tarek gasped for air, or whatever Valanthar did when they couldn't breathe. His crystal body was changing. Cracks appeared on his arms, tiny fractures that spread like spiderwebs. "Get a physician," Nyla screamed. "Now!" Valanthar doctors rushed forward. They surrounded Tarek, their hands glowing as they worked some kind of healing technique. Daehyun watched from across the room. He'd seen injuries before, plenty of them. This looked bad. The doctors worked for 10 minutes while everyone watched. Finally, they got Tarek stable enough to move. They carried him out on a floating stretcher. Nyla followed, her face blank with shock. The reception ended quickly after that. Everyone left in small groups, whispering to each other. "What do you think that was?" Jiwon asked as they walked back to their quarters. I don't know, Dae-hyun said, but it didn't look good. Over the next 3 days, rumors spread through the station. Prince Tarak was sick. No, he was dying. No, he was already dead. The Velanthar weren't saying anything official, but people talked. They always talked. Dae-hyun tried to focus on his work. He had a contract to fulfill, repairs to make, systems to check. But he kept thinking about the boy who'd collapsed. Tarak had seemed nice. Young and excited about meeting new species. Nothing like his proud, cold sister. On the third night, Dae-hyun couldn't sleep. He went to one of the observation decks, a small room with windows looking out at the stars. He liked to come here when his mind was too busy. The silence and the view usually helped, but he wasn't alone. Princess Nyla stood at the window, her back to the door. Her glow was dim, barely visible. For a moment, Dae-hyun thought about leaving quietly. Then she spoke without turning around. "Are you going to stand there, or are you going to leave?" Her voice was different. Tired. Small. "I can leave if you want privacy, Your Highness," Dae-hyun said. "It doesn't matter." She still didn't turn around. Nothing matters, Dae-hyun should have left. He knew he should have left, but something in her voice made him stay. "Your brother," he said. "Is he okay?" Nyla laughed, but there was no humor in it. "No, he's dying. The physicians say 3 days, maybe 4. There's nothing they can do. I'm sorry. Are you?" Now she turned to face him. Her eyes were strange, wet somehow, even though she was made of crystal. "You're human. I insulted your entire species 3 days ago. Why would you be sorry?" Dae-hyun shrugged. "Because your brother is dying. That's terrible. I don't have to like you to understand that." Nyla stared at him for a long moment. Then she turned back to the window. He's only 17. He wanted to be an explorer. He wanted to see every planet in the galaxy and meet every species. Even humans. Her voice broke on the last word. Especially humans. "He thought I was wrong about your kind. He argued with me about the ban. He seemed nice," Dae-hyun said. "At the reception. Before he collapsed. He is nice, too trusting, too—" She stopped. "It doesn't matter now. He'll be gone soon, and there's nothing I can do. The greatest physicians in the Empire are baffled. No one knows what's wrong with him." Dae-hyun stepped closer to the window. He looked out at the stars and thought about the fractures he'd seen spreading across Tarak's arms. They'd reminded him of something, but he couldn't quite place it. "Those cracks on his body," he said slowly. "I've seen something like that before." Nyla turned sharply. "What?" "Not in people. In minerals. On hostile worlds with certain environmental conditions, the crystal formations crack in patterns just like that when they're exposed to specific compounds." "You're a repair technician," Nyla said coldly, "not a physician." "I was a combat medic before this," Dae-hyun said. "Special forces. I've patched up more injuries in more weird places than most doctors see in their whole careers." Nyla's expression shifted. Hope flickered across her face, then died. "You're human. What could you possibly know about Velanthar biology?" "Probably nothing," Dae-hyun admitted. "But your doctors definitely know nothing. 3 days until he dies, right? What do you have to lose?" Nyla's hands clenched into fists. Pride and desperation fought on her face. Finally she spoke, and her voice was barely a whisper. "If you're lying to me, if you're trying to hurt him—" "I'm not," Dae-hyun said simply. "I just think I might be able to help." Nyla closed her eyes. When she opened them again, something had changed. The proud princess was gone. In her place stood a terrified sister. "Please," she said. "Please help him." Dae-hyun stood outside the Velanthar embassy section at 3 in the morning. He'd told Nyla to think about it, to really consider if she could trust a human with her brother's life. He'd expected her to change her mind by morning. Instead, she'd shown up at his quarters an hour ago. She hadn't knocked. She'd just stood outside his door until he'd opened it, checking why his motion sensor kept going off. There she was, the proud princess who'd banned his entire species from her empire, standing in a dingy corridor looking lost. "I've tried everything else," she'd said. "No greeting. No explanation. Every physician in the empire. Every treatment we know. Tarak gets worse every hour. So either you help him or I watch my brother die. Those are my choices." Now they stood at the embassy entrance. The Velanthar guard on duty looked at Dae-hyun like he was something that crawled out of a waste recycler. "Princess, you cannot seriously be bringing a human into—" "Let him through," Nyla said. Her voice had that royal command back in it. "That's an order. The guard stepped aside, but his hand stayed near his weapon. They walked through corridors that were too cold for humans. The Valanthar liked their environments below freezing. Daehyun's breath made small clouds in the air. Nyla noticed him shivering. "Can you work like this?" she asked. "I've worked in worse." He thought about the ice moon of Hoth 7 patching up wounded soldiers in a blizzard. This was nothing. Tarek's room was large and filled with medical equipment. The boy lay on a raised platform that pulsed with soft light. He was unconscious. The cracks Daehyun had seen 3 days ago had spread. They covered half of Tarek's body now, deep fractures that leaked a strange dark liquid. A Valanthar physician stood beside the bed. He was old, his crystal body clouded with age. He looked at Daehyun with pure disgust. "This is your solution?" he said to Nyla. "A human?" "This is Chief Physician Vorin," Nyla said to Daehyun, ignoring the doctor's tone. "He's been treating Tarek since the beginning. What treatments have you tried?" Daehyun asked, moving closer to the bed. Vorin didn't answer. He crossed his arms and turned away. "Answer him," Nyla said sharply. The old physician's jaw tightened. "Crystalline stabilizers, genetic repair sequences, bioharmonic resonance therapy, energy infusions, everything we know to strengthen crystal-based biology. Nothing works. The degradation accelerates." Daehyun pulled out a small scanner from his bag. It was human-made, crude by galactic standards, but it got the job done. He ran it slowly over Tarek's body. "What is that primitive device?" Vorin asked. "Something that might save his life," Daehyun said. He watched the readings carefully. The fracture patterns weren't random. They followed specific pathways through Tarek's body, like stress cracks, like something pushing from inside. "How long has he been on the stabilizers?" Daehyun asked. 6 months, Vorin said. "We increased the dosage when the condition appeared 3 weeks ago." "And it got worse after you increased it?" "Slightly. But that's expected with any serious illness." Daehyun stood up straight. He looked at Nyla. "I need to call someone. A friend who knows more about biology than I do. Can I use a secure line?" "You think you found something?" Hope filled her voice. "Maybe. I need to confirm it first." 20 minutes later, Daehyun was on a video call with Kyung-soo, a xenobiologist who worked on the other side of the station. Kyung-soo looked half asleep, his hair sticking up in 5 directions. "Do you know what time it is?" Kyung-soo said. "I need you to look at something." Daehyun sent him the scan data. "Tell me what you see." Kyung-soo's eyes focused on his screen. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he whistled. "That's a Valanthar. What happened to him?" "That's what I need you to tell me. These pattern." Kyung-soo pulled up another screen. "I've seen something like this before. In my research on crystal-based life forms, this looks like toxic accumulation, something building up in the system over time." "The crystalline stabilizers," Daehyun said. "What?" "They've been giving him crystalline stabilizers for 6 months. Increased the dose 3 weeks ago." Kyung-soo's face went pale. "Oh no, that's bad." "Daehyun, stabilizers are synthetic. They're supposed to mimic natural crystalline growth compounds, but they're not perfect. If you use them too long, especially at high doses, they can build up. The body can't process them. They become toxic. Can it be reversed?" "In theory, yes. You'd need to flush his system completely, get all the synthetic compounds out and let his body heal naturally, but..." Kyung-soo hesitated. "That would be incredibly dangerous for a Valanthar. Their biology depends on those crystalline structures. Flushing the system could kill him. And not doing it will definitely kill him," Daehyun said. "True." Kyung-soo rubbed his face. "You'd need to do a complete purge, like dialysis but for crystal-based biology. And you'd need to supplement with natural minerals to help his body rebuild. It would take days and the first few hours would be critical. He might not survive." "But he might," Daehyun said. "He might," Kyung-soo agreed. "It's better than no chance at all." Daehyun ended the call. He turned to find Nyla and Vorin both staring at him. "What is dialysis?" Nyla asked. "It's a human medical procedure," Daehyun said. "We use it when someone's body can't filter out toxins on its own. We filter their blood through a machine." Vorin laughed harshly. "Barbaric. You want to pump Prince Tarek's life essence through some human machine?" "I want to save his life," Daehyun said. "Your stabilizers are poisoning him. They've been building up in his system for months. That's what's causing the fractures. His body is trying to reject the synthetic compounds, but they're too strong. If we don't flush them out, he'll die." "That's impossible," Vorin said. Crystalline stabilizers are perfectly safe. We've used them for centuries. For short-term treatment, maybe. But 6 months? At increasing doses. Look at him. Dae-hyun pointed at Tarek. Does this look like something that's working? Vorin had no answer to that. Nyla stepped between them. Explain it to me simply. What do you want to do? I want to build a filtration system, Dae-hyun said. Something that can clean the toxins out of his body. Then I want to give him natural mineral supplements to help him heal. No more synthetic compounds, just natural crystalline growth the way his body is supposed to work. You said the first few hours would be critical, Nyla said. She'd been listening to his call. You said he might not survive. Yes. What are the odds? Dae-hyun met her eyes. Honestly? I don't know. This has never been done before. But I know that if we do nothing, he has 0 chance. This way, he at least has a chance. Vorin stepped forward. Princess, this is madness. You cannot trust human medicine. It's primitive, dangerous, he's guessing. Are you? Neela asked Dae-hyun. Guessing? I'm making an educated assessment based on the evidence, Dae-hyun said. But yes, there's uncertainty. There always is with something new. Nyla looked at her brother. Tarek's breathing was shallow. The cracks covered more of his body now than they had just an hour ago. Time was running out. Do it, she said. Princess. Vorin's voice was shocked. Do it, Nyla repeated. She looked at Dae-hyun. Whatever you need. Equipment, supplies, help. You'll have it. Just save my brother. Dae-hyun nodded. I'll need Ji-won to help me get equipment. And I'll need Kyung-soo here to monitor the biological readings. Can you clear them for entry? Done. And I'll need you to keep everyone else out, Dae-hyun said. I can't work with people questioning every decision. If you're going to trust me, then trust me completely. Nyla turned to Vorin. You're dismissed. But Princess, dismissed. If you cannot help, then leave. Vorin stared at her with disbelief. Then he turned and walked out, his crystalline body rigid with anger. Nyla looked back at Dae-hyun. Now it's just us. Save him, please. Dae-hyun pulled out his communicator. Ji-won, I need you to bring every piece of filtration equipment we have.
Yes, now.
And call Kyung-soo. Tell him to get to the Valanthar embassy section. I know, just tell the guards the princess authorized it. He ended the call and started pulling more equipment from his bag. Nyla watched him work. Why are you doing this? She asked quietly. I insulted your species. I banned humans from my empire. You should hate me. Dae-hyun didn't look up from his work. Maybe I should. But your brother is dying and I can help. That's more important than pride, is it? Neela's voice was bitter. I thought pride was everything. That's what I was taught. That's what I believed. Then maybe you were taught wrong, Dae-hyun said simply. Nyla had no answer to that. She just stood there, watching the human work and prayed to every god she knew that she'd made the right choice. Ji-won arrived 30 minutes later, pushing a cargo cart loaded with equipment. Kyung-soo came right behind him, carrying cases of monitoring devices. Both of them stared at the unconscious Valanthar prince and then at Dae-hyun. You're serious about this, Ji-won said, completely serious. Dae-hyun started unpacking the filtration equipment. We have maybe 24 hours before he's too far gone. We need to move fast. Kyung-soo set up his monitors around the bed. I've never worked on a Valanthar before. Their biology is completely different from anything I've studied. That's why I need you watching the readings, Dae-hyun said. You'll see things I'll miss. Nyla stood to the side, her hands clasped tightly. She watched every movement the humans made. Her royal guard commander, a tall Valanthar named Zeph, stood behind her. His hand never left his weapon. If anything goes wrong, Zeph said quietly, I will kill all 3 of them. If anything goes wrong, Nyla replied, my brother dies anyway. It took 2 hours to set everything up. The filtration system was a mess of tubes and containers, adapted from human dialysis equipment and mining purification systems. It looked like something built in a scrapyard, because it essentially was Kyung-soo checked his monitors one last time. Baseline readings are established. His crystalline integrity is at 42%. That's critical. Will he survive the procedure? Nyla asked. I don't know, Kyung-soo said honestly. I really don't know. Dae-hyun connected the final tube. Everyone ready? Wait, Nyla said. She moved to her brother's side and placed her hand on his chest. Tarek, I don't know if you can hear me, but you're strong. Stronger than me in ways I'm just learning to understand. Fight this. Come back to me. She stepped back, her face carefully blank. Proceed. Daehyun activated the system. The effect was immediate. The dark liquid that had been leaking from Tarek's cracks began flowing through the tubes. It looked like oil mixed with glitter, thick and wrong. Kyungsu's monitors started beeping rapidly. Crystalline integrity dropping, Kyungsu said. 40%, 38, 35. That's normal, Daehyun said, though his jaw was tight. We're removing the stabilizers. His body will weaken before it starts to heal. How much weaker can he get? Nyla's voice was strained. 30%, Kyungsu said. 28, 25. Daehyun, Ji-won said. I know. Daehyun watched the flow of dark liquid. It was coming faster now. Come on, Tarek, stay with us. 20%. Kyungsu's voice was alarmed. That's critical. Below 20%, his crystalline structure could collapse completely. Tarek's body began to shake. The cracks spread further, racing across his chest and down his legs. His breathing stopped. Zeph drew his weapon. He's dying. You're killing him. Stand down, Nyla ordered, but her voice was panicked. Daehyun, what's happening? His body is fighting, Daehyun said. He grabbed a container of mineral solution and started adjusting the flow. It doesn't know what's happening. It's trying to repair with compounds that aren't there anymore. 15%, Kyungsu said. Daehyun, we need to stop. Not yet. Daehyun. I said not yet. Daehyun increased the flow of mineral solution. Trust me, the dark liquid was flowing clear now. The toxins were mostly out. But Tarek's body was still failing. The monitors screamed warnings. Nyla stood frozen, watching her brother die. 12%, Kyungsu whispered. Daehyun injected something directly into one of Tarek's fractures. It was a concentrated mineral compound, something he'd prepared while they were setting up. A gamble. Everything was a gamble. For 10 seconds, nothing happened. Then Tarek gasped. A real breath, deep and sharp. 15%, Kyungsu said, his voice shocked. 16, 18, it's rising. The cracks on Tarek's body stopped spreading. The deepest ones actually began to close very slowly, like watching ice form in reverse. 20%, Kyungsu said. 22. It's working. It's actually working. Nyla made a sound that was half laugh, half sob. She grabbed Daehyun's arm. He's healing? Early stages, Daehyun said, but he was smiling. The toxins are out. Now his body can start repairing itself naturally, but we need to keep the mineral solution flowing. His healing process needs support. How long? 2 days, maybe 3. He needs constant monitoring. Then we'll monitor him, Nyla said. She looked at Zeph. Contact the medical staff. Tell them Prince Tarek is stabilized and recovering. Tell them the human's treatment is working. Zeph's face was unreadable. He holstered his weapon slowly. As you command, Princess. Word spread through the Velanthar embassy within the hour. Humans were treating Prince Tarek. The barbaric species with their primitive medicine were saving royal Velanthar life. Some of the Velanthar physicians came to see for themselves. They stood in the doorway, staring at the crude equipment and the slowly healing prince. Vorin was among them. His face was dark with anger. This is a disgrace, he said. Using human methods on Velanthar royalty. It's an insult to everything we stand for. It's saving my brother's life, Nyla said coldly. Perhaps you should consider why your methods failed where theirs succeeded. Vorin had no answer to that. He left without another word. By the second day, news had leaked to the rest of the station. A human was treating the Velanthar prince, the same species the Velanthar had just banned from their space. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The station's gossip networks went wild. Ambassador Hana came to visit. She stood in the doorway looking at the scene. Daehyun was checking Tarek's vital signs while Kyungsu monitored the equipment. Ji-won was bringing in more mineral solution, and Princess Nyla sat beside her brother's bed holding his hand. I heard rumors, Hana said. I didn't believe them. It's true, Nyla said without looking up. A human is saving my brother. The same humans I called barbaric and primitive. And now? Now I'm learning that words have consequences, Nyla said quietly. And that pride is a poison worse than anything in my brother's body. On the third day, Tarek opened his eyes. Nyla, his voice was weak but clear. I'm here. Nyla's hand tightened on his. I'm right here. What happened? I remember the reception and then... Tarek's eyes found Daehyun. Who's that? That's Daehyun, Nyla said. He's human. He saved your life. Tarek blinked in confusion. But you said humans were— I was wrong, Nyla interrupted. About many things. Daehyun came over to check Tarek's readings. How do you feel? Tired, weak. Tarek looked down at his body. The cracks were still visible, but much smaller now. Thin lines instead of gaping fractures. What happened to me? You were being poisoned, Daehyun said simply. The medicine that was supposed to help you was actually making you sick. We had to flush it out of your system. The stabilizers? Tarek looked at Nyla. But I've been taking those for months, since that injury last year. They built up in your system, Kyung-soo explained, coming over. Became toxic. Your body couldn't process them anymore. And you three fixed it. Tarek looked at the humans with wonder. You're all human. We are, Jiwon said with a grin. My sister said your species was barbaric. I did say that, Nyla admitted, her face flushing darker. I was wrong. Extremely wrong, Tarek said. Then he smiled. I told you so. Despite everything, Nyla laughed. It was a real laugh, free and relieved. Yes, little brother. You told me so. But the laughter didn't last long. Kyung-soo's communicator beeped urgently. He checked it and his face went pale. Daehyun. We have a problem. What kind of problem? A big one. High Chancellor Vareth just arrived at the station. He's demanding to speak with Princess Nyla immediately. Nyla stood up, her body going rigid. Vareth, what is he doing here? Who's Vareth? Daehyun asked. A political rival, Nyla said carefully. He's been trying to undermine my position for years. He's always believed I was too young, too soft to rule. And now you've let humans treat your brother, Jiwon said. That's probably not going to help. No, Nyla said quietly. It's not. The door to the medical room slid open. A Velenthar strode in, larger than Nyla, his crystalline body dark red like old blood. 2 guards followed him. He looked at the scene before him, his eyes taking in the human equipment, the human doctors, and the slowly recovering prince. Princess Nyla, he said. His voice was smooth as glass. What an interesting situation I find here. You've allowed humans to touch royal blood. Humans, the species you yourself banned from our empire just days ago. They saved my brother's life, Nyla said. Did they? Barath moved closer to Tarek's bed. Or did they cause his illness in the first place? How convenient that humans would appear with a cure for a condition that appeared right after they arrived on this station. That's not what happened, Daehyun said. And who are you to speak in the presence of Velenthar royalty? Varath turned his cold eyes on Daehyun. A repair technician, I'm told. Playing at being a doctor. Gambling with a prince's life. He saved my life, Tarek said weakly. I felt the toxins leaving my body. I feel better now. Or so you think, Vareth said. But how do we know these humans haven't done something worse? How do we know they haven't planted something in you? Some human disease or control mechanism? That's insane, Kyung-soo said. Is it? Vareth smiled. I think the council will be very interested to hear how Princess Nyla allowed barbaric humans to experiment on her own brother. How she went against her own decree and risked the royal bloodline. Perhaps she is not fit to be crowned princess after all. Nyla's hands clenched into fists. Get out! I think not. By my authority as High Chancellor, I'm taking command of this situation. These humans are under arrest for unauthorized medical treatment of Velenthar royalty, and you, Princess, will answer to the council for your betrayal of our people. Vareth's guards moved forward, and that's when everything went wrong. What are you doing? Nyla asked. Something barbaric, Daehyun said with a tight smile. The cutting started. The door glowed red as energy torches worked from the outside. Daehyun waited, his hand on an improvised switch. Steady, he said. Wait for it. The door blew inward. 6 Velenthar guards rushed through, weapons raised. Daehyun hit the switch. The medical equipment he'd been working on discharged all its stored energy at once through the doorframe. The electromagnetic pulse hit the guards like a physical blow. Their weapons sparked and died. 2 of them fell unconscious. The others stumbled back, confused. Zeph and his allies rushed forward, disarming the stunned guards efficiently. Clear, Zeph said. Nice trick, Jiwon said to Daehyun. Extremely dangerous and possibly stupid, but nice. That's human engineering for you, Daehyun replied. But more guards were coming. They could hear boots in the corridor. Vareth's voice shouted orders. This isn't sustainable, Nyla said. Eventually they'll get through. Then we need to get out of this room, Daehyun said. Find another position we can defend. I told you my brother can't be moved, Kyung-soo said. Then we disconnect the equipment and carry it with us. That's insane. Do you know how heavy? I know exactly how heavy it is, Daehyun interrupted. Ji-won and I have carried wounded soldiers in full gear through worse conditions. Medical equipment is nothing. He's right, Ji-won said. We've done it before. Nyla looked at her brother. Tarek nodded weakly. I trust them. All right, Nyla said. We move, but where? The communications center, Zeph suggested. 3 corridors down, reinforced walls, direct line to station security. Station security should be responding to these alarms already, Kyung-soo said. Why aren't they here? Because Verath controls the embassy section's security protocols, Nyla realized. He's locked them out. We're on our own until we can get a message out. Then the communications center it is, Daehyun said. Everyone grab something. We move in 30 seconds. They ran through corridors filled with emergency lighting and alarm sounds. Daehyun and Ji-won carried the main medical unit between them. Tarek strapped to the portable bed. Kyung-soo handled the monitors. Zeph and Nyla led the way, weapons ready. They encountered 3 more groups of Verath's guards. Each time Zeph's group took them down quickly. The guards were trained for ceremonial duty, not combat. Zeph had fought in actual wars. They reached the communications center and sealed themselves inside. Nyla immediately started working the controls. I'm locked out, she said. Verath changed all the access codes. Let me try, Daehyun said. He pulled out his repair tools and opened a panel in the wall. Security systems are just complicated locks, and I'm very good at picking locks. How long? Nyla asked. 2 minutes. We might not have 2 minutes, Zeph said. I hear movement outside. Daehyun worked faster. His hands moved with practiced precision, rerouting circuits and bypassing security protocols. This was what he did. This was what humans did. They improvised. They adapted. They refused to give up. Got it, he said. The console lit up green. Nyla grabbed the communicator. Station security. This is Princess Nyla of the Valenther Embassy. We have an attempted coup in progress. High Chancellor Verath has committed treason and attempted murder. We need immediate assistance. The embassy section is locked down. Override code Alpha 77 Mark Delta. Static for a moment. Then a response. Confirmed, Princess. Security teams are breaching now. Hold your position. Outside they heard explosions, shouting, the sound of fighting. 5 minutes later it was over. Station security broke through Verath's defenses and arrested him along with his supporters. The High Chancellor was dragged away, still shouting about destiny and the Empire. The medical room was quiet again. Tarek lay on his bed, stable and safe. Kyung-soo checked his readings one more time. Crystalline integrity at 65% and rising. He's going to make a full recovery. Nyla sat down hard, exhaustion hitting her all at once. It's really over. It's over, Daehyun confirmed. She looked up at him. You saved my brother's life. Then you saved it again. I can never repay you. You don't need to repay me, Daehyun said. Just maybe rethink that human ban? Despite everything, Nyla laughed. The Galactic Council chamber was packed. Every seat filled and dozens more species watching through live broadcast. This was the biggest story in the galaxy right now. The Valanther princess who had banned humans now stood before the council to explain why a human had saved her brother's life. Daehyun sat in the observers section with Ji-won and Kyung-soo. He didn't want to be here. He'd done his job. Tarek was healing well. That should have been the end of it. But Princess Nyla had personally requested his presence, and apparently, when a princess requests something, you don't say no. Ambassador Hana sat nearby looking pleased. This was good publicity for humanity, whether Daehyun wanted it or not. Nyla stood at the central podium looking very different from the last time she'd been here. Less proud, more humble, but somehow stronger for it. Members of the Galactic Council, she began. 1 week ago I stood in this very chamber and announced that humans were banned from Velanthar space. I called them barbaric, primitive, dangerous. I said their presence contaminated civilization. She paused, letting the words hang in the air. I was wrong. Whispers filled the chamber. My brother was dying. Our best physicians couldn't help him. Our advanced medicine was useless. I had exhausted every option the Velanthar Empire could offer, and then a human repair technician looked at my brother's scans and saw what no one else had seen. He understood the problem. He created a solution, and he saved my brother's life using what I had called barbaric methods. She looked directly at Daehyun. That human showed me something I had forgotten. That intelligence isn't about having the most advanced technology or the longest history. It's about adapting to new situations. It's about seeing solutions others miss, and it's about having the compassion to help someone even when they've treated you terribly. More whispers. Some species nodded. Others looked skeptical. The Galactic Council has video evidence of everything that happened, Neela continued. You've seen how High Chancellor Varath poisoned my brother to create a political crisis. You've seen how human medicine succeeded where ours failed. And you've seen how humans risked their lives to protect my brother when Varath tried to finish what he started. She straightened, her voice growing stronger. Therefore, I am officially revoking the ban on humans entering Velanthar space. Effective immediately, humans are welcome in our empire. More than that, I am proposing a formal medical and scientific exchange program between the Velanthar Empire and humanity. We have much to learn from each other. The chamber erupted. Half the species shouted approval. The other half shouted objections. The council chairman had to restore order 3 times. A Velanthar elder stood up from the Velanthar delegation section. Princess Nyla, what you propose is unprecedented. The Velanthar have never admitted weakness, never sought help from younger species. This would change centuries of tradition. Yes, Nyla said simply. It would. And it should. Tradition that prevents us from learning is tradition that holds us back. My brother nearly died because we were too proud to consider that others might know things we don't. That pride is a weakness, not a strength. And what do the humans say to this? Another council member asked. Do they accept your proposal? All eyes turned to Ambassador Hana. She stood up slowly, clearly enjoying the moment. The human delegation is honored by Princess Nyla's proposal, Hana said. We accept enthusiastically. We look forward to learning from Velanthar science, and we're happy to share what we know in return. The vote took 3 hours. In the end, the council approved the exchange program by a narrow margin. Not everyone was happy about it, but no one could argue with the results. A dying prince was now recovering. A conspiracy had been exposed. And the galaxy had been reminded that every species had something to contribute. After the session ended, Daehyun tried to slip away quietly. He didn't get far. Nyla found him in the corridor, Tarek walking beside her. The prince looked much better. The cracks on his body were barely visible now, thin silver lines that would fade with time. You were leaving without saying goodbye, Nyla said. I figured you'd be busy, Daehyun replied. Politics and all that. I'm never too busy to thank the man who saved my brother. She hesitated. And who taught me an important lesson about judging people? Tarek stepped forward and bowed in the formal Velanthar way. I owe you my life. If there's ever anything I can do to repay that debt. Live well, Daehyun interrupted. Be kind to people. Learn from everyone you meet, no matter what species they are. That's payment enough, Tarek smiled. I can do that. Actually, I've been accepted to study xenobiology at the Human University on Proxima Station. If the offer still stands after everything that happened. It stands, Daehyun said. You'll do well there. Will you be teaching any classes? Tarek asked hopefully. Me? No, I'm a repair technician, remember? I just happen to know a little emergency medicine. You saved my life with that little bit of knowledge, Tarek said. Imagine what you could do if you studied more. Daehyun laughed. I'll stick to fixing broken machines, thanks. They don't talk back as much. Nyla pulled out a small crystal device. This is for you. It's a royal commendation. It gives you full access to Velanthar space, including areas normally restricted to citizens only. And if you ever need anything from the Velanthar Empire, anything at all, just present this. It will be granted. I don't need a reward, Daehyun said. I know. That's exactly why you deserve it. She pressed the device into his hand. Please, let me give you this much at least. Daehyun looked at the crystal. It was beautiful, glowing with soft light. Thank you. No, Nyla said quietly. Thank you. For everything. She started to leave, then turned back. Daehyun? The research facility we're establishing on this station. The one for the medical exchange program. We'll need someone to run it, someone who understands both human and alien medicine, someone who isn't afraid to try new things. I'm sure you'll find someone good, Daehyun said. I already have. The position is yours if you want it. Daehyun blinked. You want me to run a galactic medical research facility? I'm a repair technician. You're more than that. You proved it, Nyla smiled. But I understand if you prefer your freedom. The offer stands no matter what you decide. No pressure. She walked away with Tarek, leaving Daehyun standing in the corridor with a royal commendation in his hand and a job offer that would change his entire life. Ji-won appeared beside him. So, are you going to take it? I don't know, Daehyun said. It's a big responsibility. You just saved a prince, exposed a conspiracy, and survived a coup. I think you can handle running a research lab. Maybe. Daehyun looked at the crystal in his hand. It's strange. A week ago, the Volanthar hated us. Now they want to work with us. Things change fast. That's what happens when you actually talk to each other instead of just making assumptions, Ji-won said. Who knew? Kyung-soo joined them. I heard about the job offer. If you take it, I'm applying to work there. Volanthar biology is fascinating. I could spend years studying it. See? You'd already have one employee, Ji-won said. Daehyun laughed. Let me think about it. Right now, I just want to get some sleep. It's been a very long week. They walked toward their quarters together. 3 humans on a space station full of aliens. No longer quite as unwelcome as they used to be. 6 months passed. The research facility was completed on schedule. It was a beautiful building. Half Volanthar crystal architecture and half human practical design. The sign above the door read, Galactic Medical Research Center in 20 different languages. Below that, in smaller letters, all species welcome. Daehyun stood in the main laboratory checking inventory. He'd taken the job after all. It turned out he was pretty good at running a research facility, and he liked teaching the young scientists who came from all over the galaxy to learn. Daehyun? A familiar voice called. He turned to find Nyla in the doorway. She wasn't wearing her royal clothes. Just a simple lab coat over practical work clothes. Her hair was pulled back and she carried a data tablet. Dr. Nyla, he greeted her with a smile. Here for your shift? Always. She'd enrolled in the comparative medicine program 3 months ago. She was one of his best students, though he'd never tell her that. She was already proud enough. Well, proud in a good way now. The kind of pride that came from working hard and learning, not from thinking you were better than everyone else. Tarek was there too, working in the xenobiology section. He'd recovered completely, with no lasting effects except the silver lines on his crystal body that he wore like badges of honor. How many new patients today? Nyla asked, checking the schedule. 4. 2 from species we've treated before, 2 from a species we've never worked with. Should be interesting. It's always interesting, she smiled. That's what I love about this work. Every day is something new. Different from being a princess? Very different. And much better. She looked around the lab. When I gave that speech banning humans from our space, I thought I was protecting my people. I thought we were superior and everyone else was beneath us. I was so certain I was right. And now? Now I know that being certain is dangerous. The moment you stop questioning yourself is the moment you stop learning. She looked at him. You taught me that. I didn't teach you anything. You figured it out yourself. Maybe. But you showed me it was possible to change. That admitting you're wrong doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger. A patient arrived, a small furry alien with a respiratory problem. Nyla greeted them warmly and started the examination. Daehyun watched her work. She was good at this. Patient, thorough, willing to try different approaches until she found what worked. Later that evening, after the lab closed, Daehyun and his friends went to the station's cafeteria. It was a popular spot, always crowded with beings from dozens of species. Ji-won was telling a story about his latest cargo run. Kyung-soo was arguing with a Volanthar scientist about crystalline biology. Tarek was laughing at something on his data pad. Nyla sat beside Daehyun, eating human noodles with chopsticks she still hadn't quite mastered. She kept dropping them. Want a fork? Daehyun asked. No, I'll figure it out. She tried again, managed to get some noodles to her mouth, and grinned triumphantly. See? Learning. Always learning, Daehyun agreed. He looked around the cafeteria. Humans sitting with Valanthar. Aliens from species that used to hate each other sharing meals and conversations. It wasn't perfect. There were still misunderstandings, still prejudices that took time to overcome, but it was better. Much better than before. Above the food service counter, someone had put up a hand-drawn sign. It was simple, written in basic galactic standard. No species is superior. No species is inferior. We're all just trying to figure things out together. Daehyun raised his cup. To figuring things out. The others raised their cups too. To figuring things out, they echoed. And in that moment, in a cafeteria on a space station orbiting a neutral moon, a small group of friends from different species shared a meal and reminded themselves that the galaxy was big enough for everyone, that differences didn't have to mean division. That pride could be set aside in favor of progress. That sometimes the most important thing you could say wasn't, "No humans allowed." It was simply welcome. The sign above the research center kept glowing into the night, its message clear for anyone who cared to read it. All species welcome. And they were. Every single one of them.